Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the fourth Field Lacrosse coaching seminar. Rob Gooch with you as always. Today, very lucky to have Ryan Wallace, all the way from Stuttgart, with us for his keynote. Top 5 new things to focus on within lacrosse. So we'll introduce Ryan in a moment. Usual logistics here. So if you please go on mute when Ryan is speaking. This is being recorded, so if you don't want to be seen, you turn your cameras off. But please, when we get to open Q&A, when you want to ask a question, happy for you to go on, switch your videos on so Ryan can see you. You can jump in for questions, or you can use the raise hand feature, and I'll lead you in for questions. Let me unshare the flyer so you can see everybody. There is Ryan. So Ryan, please introduce yourself, and then the floor is yours.
All right. Thanks, Rob, for having me. Excited to be here with you guys. So I'm Ryan Wallace. I coach in Germany. Right now I'm actually splitting my year between Germany and Croatia, which is a really fun, exciting, new, unique opportunity. So we'll see how that plays out. Kind of a lot of logistics involved. But I was actually the Wales LDO for 2 years, from 2005 to 2007. So it's special for me to be back here talking to you guys. I was also the Air Force, or Royal Air Force lacrosse coach a couple years ago for their week-long training for the women. They had another coach there for the men's team, but we had that game against Milton Keynes out there at the air base. So it's great for me to be back talking to you guys. So right now I'm coaching in Germany. I get to work with a lot of different teams. My main team, my home team in Germany right now is Tübingen, but I spent 3 years with Cologne Lacrosse in the northwest of Germany, where we won the German championship in 2017 and almost again in 2019. We lost by 1 in the fourth quarter, got the silver medal that year. One of the best and worst games of all time for me. We were leading the whole game and ended up taking second. So it was, a great game to watch, but you never want to lose at the end. But right now I'm coaching in Tübingen, and I get to work with a lot of other teams. I was just coaching a women's team in Switzerland back in August. I'm working with mostly brand new players in Croatia. And then I just spent a month with the Israeli Premier League for their winter bubble, and got to ref and help coach a lot of high-level American college players that were in Israel, kind of waiting out the lockdown before the season started. So we had a great time over there. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is things that I see really useful everywhere: men's, women's, experienced, inexperienced. Talking to you and Rob Bingham Clark before this, kind of preparing for this, it's like we have a big array of experience level. So I'm going to hopefully hit that and make everything useful for everyone at every level. And then also, I know from my experience and still to today, there's a lot of player coaches in SEMLA. So hopefully I'm going to target people that are on the field trying to not only be a player coach, but also player coach that same inexperience or that same experience level discrepancy or disparity on their team on the field. So I did a similar talk for the Italian Lacrosse Association. Their players wanted to know, how can I be a better teammate and a better player when I get out of lockdown? And some of the stuff I'm going to talk about today is that same stuff. So I'll just get right into it. So some of my favorite things to work on right now, I'm going to start with number 1, hand position. It seems like such a simple thing, but it's, for me, it's huge. So especially with women's players, but also with men's, we're all taught, hand at the bottom, avoid that lift check. You got to cover your butt end, right? But there's so many times where, this stick is long, even a short stick, especially a deep hole. you don't have to worry about a lift check if you're not catching the pass. So I play almost entirely all the time like a box player. So I bring my hands up more to the middle. I've got a butt end sticking out. That's fine. But I'm going to catch 95, 100% of my passes because my stick is shorter. My hand-eye coordination is shorter so that this catch is easier. My solution for avoiding lift checks is not to move my hands. It's to run faster or step away, increase the distance between me and my defender. So you don't have a problem with butt end checks or lift checks if you don't have the ball. So when I work with a lot of new teams and we're trying to catch and throw, we bring our hands up, we shorten our stick. And I play like this in all the games that I play, hands in the middle or bottom 2/3 or bottom 1/3. I play like this all the time, and I very rarely get lifted. The only times I get lifted are maybe when I'm trying to take a shot, and that's the end of that problem. Especially for deep holes, right? Same thing with deep holes. You don't need your hands at the bottom of your stick trying to catch with a 6-foot stick. Getting your stick checked is a problem after you have the ball. But if you watch the college games right now, or if you watch any games that you can get your hands on, you've got the best defenders in the world, Brody Merrill, any of those guys, Tucker Durkin, they all bring their hands up and scoop with their hands in the middle. They carry the ball with their hands in the middle. They pass and catch with their hands in the middle. So don't worry about the lift checks if you don't have the ball, or don't worry about protecting your butt end if you don't have the ball. But if you've got teammates or if you yourself, bring your hands up, and that'll get a lot easier. So that's number one. I'm going to share my screen for my other new things. Let me know if that all works. Can everybody see that? Okay, this is the presentation I did for Italy, and I'm going to go through. We might not get to all 5 of the things. This is my number one favorite thing right now. Does that look okay, Rob?
That's good, yeah.
So this is my number one favorite thing right now. It is non-negotiable for me. If you buy into this and make this a rule for you and make this a rule for your team, this pays off huge. It is always scoop a ground ball and pass it. Anytime you get a ground ball, you need to move it. Some coaches say move it too. So we all know the rhythm of dodge, pass, dodge, dodge, pass. Ground balls are the same, scoop, pass. So move it 1, move it 2, but it doesn't matter, move it. So a ground ball situation moves everybody on the field, and it moves everybody's position, and it changes all the matchups. So if you can scoop a ground ball and get it into a stick, then good things are going to happen. So this is for me, I'm not even joking, I'm going to emphasize it again. It is non-negotiable. It happens every time. The sooner the better. So, like I'm almost 40 years old, and when I play, like I don't need to go into this ground ball, right? If I'm number 2, if I'm blue 2, then I need to be an outlet pass for my teammate blue 5. If I'm blue 5, then I know I need to pass it. That's it. There's pressure on the ball. There's sticks and bodies. Right? We just need to get that ball up and to a safe stick. So if you're a player coach and you're trying to be a better teammate and you're blue 2, then you need to get to a spot where you can be an easy outlet pass. Let your teammate scoop the ball, move it away from trouble. And then, like I said, if you look at blue 3 in the middle, there's an unsettled situation somewhere. Or if you look at the top half of the screen, this ground ball situation has created a 4v3 on the backside. So if you're a really, really smart player and you can get that ball into that 4-on-3, or if you're one of these guys up here, blue 1, blue 4, okay, you have a 4-on-3, and the faster you work it, the longer you're going to have that numbers advantage before one of these red defenders comes back over. You can be anybody in this situation and know what's going to happen, and it's not something that takes an incredible amount of speed and power and stick skills and all these things. It's just simple situational awareness, okay? If you're a defender in this situation and you recognize that you're inside a 4v3 as a result of a ground ball, then you can make this situation take too long for them to score. You can neutralize it, rotate your 3-man defense until one of your teammates comes back. So ground ball situations always create a new unsettled situation. And if you can read those, it's, like I said, it's not something that takes bigger, faster, stronger players. It's just being smart. So that's my number one favorite thing. I remember a certain player of mine in Cologne would always, we would get into arguments about it. And it is non-negotiable. It is a rule. Everybody on the team follows the rule every single time. Scoop it and move it. Every so often, can you guys see my cursor right there? Every so often, you'll get a ground ball. Yeah, it does work?
Yes.
Okay. Every so often, you'll get a ground ball right here in front of the goal. And that's, like once in 50 times, there'll be an exception where you can scoop it and shoot it, right? But you're still scooping it and moving it. Okay, so ground balls don't stay in the stick. They come out of the stick, they get to a safe stick, or they go in the goal, but they got to go somewhere. Okay, I'm going to skip a bunch of this stuff. I'll cover this. Overcommitting. So let's touch on approaches right now. Okay, and I'm going to go to this in a different way, but because this is here, I'm going to use it. Approaches are so hot right now, or matchups. Let's call it matchups and approaches the same thing. Matchups and approaches, you can almost run your entire offense on. So if you're looking for what you're going to run the next time you're out on the field, I don't really run plays with any of the teams that I play with, or when I go to a tournament, I'm always playing with new people, so I don't run plays. I run matchups and approaches. So anytime you can get a defender, especially one that overcommits and goes right past you and ends up behind you, even if it's on a ground ball, or they just straight up just run straight at you and you can just run by them, your entire offense can just be waiting for that matchup or waiting for that approach, beating that defender, and then you create a numbers advantage situation. So here I just drew up this one for the youth rules where you normally play 4v4 settled offense. And if you get past one defender that overcommits, gets out of position, or you dodge past them, you've got a 4v3. That's a basic fast break. I think we can all skip that one. Skip that. This is another one that I do a lot and I spend a lot of time on, is when we go back out and we want to be a good teammate, we want to be a better player, a lot of times that just means helping our team keep the ball. So again, like if I'm blue 2 in that situation, I just want to make sure that my teammates have an easy outlet pass, because we're not going to be a very good teammate. We're not going to be a very good team if we don't have the ball at least long enough to catch our breath. And a lot of times, your teammates don't realize that you can pass to them and get it right back. I'm going to skip this one. Basic offense, creating space. Okay, here's where we start getting, this is a good one. These are crease pops. So if I go here so that I can manipulate players, crease pops are my new favorite. Or well, they're not that new. They're about 2-3 years old. We've all got the old alley dodge. We've got blue 5 clearing through from the wing. You can see that. The hot slide or the one slide is probably going to come from 3 on the crease. And we all know the way that works, right? If I'm blue 3, the old-fashioned triangle motion offense, he would fade out to the backside, right? We've all run this. We've all been taught this. It's actually quite complex, okay? And the 2 slide usually comes from red 4. So, we've got the help left, the help right from red 1. We've got the help left from red 5, but it's going to become red 6 as blue 5 moves away. I hope this isn't getting too hard to follow. Red 3 is hot, red 4 is 2, usually. Okay, it's all kind of old-fashioned. And you can see why with crease pops, basically you're popping adjacent behind the ball and you're popping away from the second slide. So if you see, you're forcing red 4 to come way upfield when you pop straight up the middle from blue 3. So this is called a crease pop. Blue 3 gets the ball here. That shot, number 1, it's 1 pass away. So you don't have to roll back and pass to the backside. You just throw what's called a rodeo pass. Does everybody know a rodeo pass or a pull pass, crossbody pass? Blue 2 can just throw that cross body pass right to Blue 3. Blue 3's at the top center. And it pulls that second slide way upfield. And so Red 4 has to slide up. And Blue 3's in a good shooting spot. Or actually, one of my favorite things is when Red 4 comes way upfield. We ran this in Cologne. They did it. All the college teams do it. You can see where Blue 4 is on the back pipe. So if you second slide from down low, you can be leaving a guy open in a very nice layup position, right? So the pop is designed to pop to a shooting spot, but it's also designed to pull the second slide way upfield and leave that guy open for a layup. And that's actually, you
jump in, please, Ryan, and ask just my understanding. So this starts with Blue 2 looking to do a normal alley dodge.
Yep.
But then that pass across the body, top center Blue 3, is the bit that you're now adding in, because the defense are all kind of drawn towards 2. That top center Blue 3 is then open, forcing Red 4 to slide. You're leaving Blue 4 wide open on the crease.
Yeah, exactly. And this is nothing new except for the pop pulls Red 4. Red 4 is your second slide, right? He's going to go no matter what. And so normally in the kind of the old way is he'd just come to the crease because Blue 3 is still there, right? But because you're popping away from the second slide now has to go further. It takes him longer to get there, and he's got to come way up because you're not waiting for him to come to you. You're literally running away from him. So that's actually an important part of the pops. You can do them anywhere. If Blue 1 was dodging, like maybe a sweep dodge, right, then the crease guy, Blue 3, would pop out behind him because dodging from here, the second slide would be over here, right? Second slide usually comes from the opposite side of the field, the back side of the field. So pops are anything designed to go adjacent behind the ball. So it's a one pass to get the ball to the open guy, and they go away from the second slide to force the second slide to go further to cover their new man. Does all that make sense? It's a little bit complex. It's a little bit advanced, but once you get that concept under your belt, you can find a lot of really good things. So we're going 2 levels here, right?
Yep.
We're not only trying to get Blue 3 open, right? We're trying to get Blue 3 or Blue 4 open because we understand this concept of popping adjacent behind the ball and popping away from the second slide. That's the overall concept. And it's really, really useful when you put yourself in anywhere in this offense, right? If you're Blue 2, if you're an advanced player and you're trying to make your teammates better, then you're drawing the double team. You're not trying to score. You're trying to feed. So you've got to not only handle the double team, but you've got to read the second slide and find the open guy. There's some really nice plays where you can see that this is, and that's one more thing, and I know you're trying to pop in here, Rob. This is a right-handed dodge. This is a right-handed pass. This is a right-handed catch, right-handed shot, or a right-handed one more pass. This is a right-handed catch, right-handed shot. 90% of us are right-handed. So some of these plays and concepts work without needing to work on your or use your left hand.
Would it be then true to say that the one of the challenges in coaching this is that pop pass, say in this case from Blue 2, is to someone who isn't necessarily in that guy's field of view because he's looking towards Blue 6, Blue 5, Blue 4. He's got to be aware of that player that's not quite in his field of vision, be aware he's there to get that pass across.
I would say yes, but also I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I had trouble with this before. I'm a little bit more of a fan of Zoom. Okay, can you guys see me again?
We can see you.
So, I'm going to say I'm dodging this way, right? So I make my dodge facing my defender. My defender should be playing with his feet facing the sidelines. I should be dodging my defender with my feet actually facing the sidelines. In the next game you watch, look for this, okay? My first move is to the middle of the field, so I'm actually squared up with my defender, chest to chest, and my second move is to the goal, okay? So now I'm turned and I'm going towards the goal. When I see the double coming, I need to everybody knows a jab step, right? Another thing that a lot of players have trouble with is I now need to jab step and step away from the double team, and I should now be almost squared up again. Okay, so now everybody should be in my field of vision. So yes, a player popping adjacent behind me is hard to see, and you have a lot of coaches that talk about knowing that your help is behind you, okay? Which is why we all used to do the old rollback, right? But when you step away, when you jab away, Virginia and a lot of the other college teams call it a bounce. You bounce off the defense. It's so that you can open up and see, and also free your hands up for that pull pass or that crossbody rodeo pass. So I don't have to roll away anymore. I don't have to use my right hand. I don't have to take that time. Double's coming, right? I've beaten my defender. Here comes the slide from in front of me. I bounce. I open up, and I can see, and I know that that help is coming behind me where I just came from. And yes, it does take time. It does take a while to get some players used to that. But once you have it, once it's there, then you start to really find your open teammates.
Perfect.
And,
Thank you.
yeah. So now I'm going to address that from the defensive side, that same situation, and talk about kind of like the new 2 slides. So here comes red 4 back. This direct skip pass to blue 4 is, when you have it, it's open a lot more than you think, and we have shooting drills that we practice that are just for this dodge from blue 2 and a feed to blue 4. When you find that open guy on the backside, it is a thing of beauty. And blue 3 popping away, you have to have that pop to pull the second slide, but it's there a lot more than you think. And for that reason, a lot of teams now are second sliding not from down low, so that they don't leave. I'm just going to move that. They don't want to leave that open. But look where blue 1 is. Okay, so they'll second slide up here from red 1, because blue 1 is now the guy that's open and far away from the ball. So you force the guy left open by the second slide to be as far away. So not red 4, but red 1, because if you look at the dodge, right? So here's a defensive concept, and I think this is useful for a lot of people, because let's talk about defensive responsibilities for a second, and I hope this view helps with that or is useful. Red 2 is on the ball, okay? Red 1 is help right. Red 5 is help left, even though his man is moving. Right now, red 3 is hot, okay? Red 6 and red 4 could both be 2 slides, because 1, 2, red 6's man is 2 passes away. 1, 2, red 4's man is 2 passes away. So that's a basic defensive concept that I like to use. If you're on the ball, you're on the ball. That's easy. If your man is 1 pass away, 1 pass, 1 pass, 1 pass, then you are probably a 1 slide. So a hot slide. You could be adjacent right, you could be adjacent left, or you could be crease. Okay, so you've got adjacent slide packages right now, or you've got a crease. All 3 of these guys are guarding someone who is 1 pass away. You're a 1 slide. Not all 3 1 slides are going to go. 1 of your 1 slides is going to go. You need to communicate which one that is. Red 4 and red 6 are guarding guys who are 2 passes away. 1, 2. So they are a 2 slide. One of them is going to go. Okay, does that make sense? Is all clear?
Yep.
As blue 2 moves away this way, red 1 is guarding a man. The ball is moving away from his man. So as the ball moves away from your man, you also need to move away from your man. Okay? Because as we see in the next slide, it's a little bit unclear. It's a little bit messy, but when blue 2 ends up all the way over here, then blue 1 is now the guy farthest away from the ball. It's going to take 1, 2 passes to get it there. So now red 1 needs to be a 2 slide. So in order to keep blue 4 covered, who's right next to the goal, for a layup, a lot of teams, because of the crease pops and because of other things, they become the new two slide from up top backside instead of low backside. The defensive principles still work the same. Red 2 is covering the ball. Red 3 is sliding. Red 6 is actually now adjacent left. He can't be a two slide. Blue 5 has moved to the middle, so red 5 can't be a two slide. He's got a different responsibility. So out of all, these guys all have ball left and right covered. These are the only guys whose man is 2 passes away. One of them needs to be a two slide. So if the ball's going around and you're in settled defense, as long as you've got your guys covering ball left and right, you should actually have 2 players at any time who could be the two slide. They should be helping in on the backside. So that's my new favorite thing on defense, is that ball 1 and 2 responsibility concept, so that you have more than one option on your two slide, because the pops are designed to run away from the two slide no matter where you go. Okay, and everybody knows the one more pass, right? The one more is so crucial. Once you start finding one more passes and you know to use, that's why it's in quotes down here. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, we can.
If you're not using one more, then that's probably the main thing missing from most teams, is understanding that one more pass moves the defense. The goalie's looking over here. That one more pass, this guy's wide open. And there's a lot of times that people don't understand that there's one more pass, but he's open behind you, right? So one more means you have one more teammate open. You have one more pass to make. You need to make one more pass, continuing the ball going in the same direction. So the ball just came from blue 2 to blue 3. We need to make one more pass over to blue 1. And that's so common. Once you start seeing it, you'll start to recognize it more and more and more now that you know what it is. But the hardest thing for younger players or less experienced players to learn is that the ball needs to continue going in the same direction. So here we're moving the ball counterclockwise, or what do you guys say, anti-clockwise?
We do, yes.
Yeah, anti-clockwise. The ball needs to continue moving that direction. If the ball was coming this way and we hear a one more call, then we need to go one more the other direction. What would actually happen in this situation is that if we made one more pass to blue 1, if red 4 slid upfield, then we would need to make one more pass to blue 4. So the one more pass always continues in the same direction. I like shallow cuts. I'm going to skip that one for today. There's picks. Let's talk about matchups and approaches real quick, and I'm going to show a video clip now talking about matchups and approaches. And this is one I pulled yesterday from Duke, Denver. 2 days ago. Not excited about that. Let me try this again from the file. Can you guys see that?
We can, yeah.
Okay, it looks like, I don't think the volume's going to work, but that's okay. So I'm going to go back to the beginning here. Okay, right now, if you see this, white 9, Duke 9 is an offensive midfielder. This is red 19. He's a defensive midfielder. And they actually kept him on the field to try and keep white 9, Duke 9 tired, and they didn't use him. But you can keep an offensive midfielder on the field and force them to play defense. But it kind of backfired because Duke got a save from their goalie, and then all of a sudden an offensive midfielder is involved in a break, okay? And you have this defensive midfielder here trapped on the field, and that's Shane Brennan, I think, right? And now you've got a short stick D-midi trapped on the field for 2 shifts, and you've got he's like one of the top 5 recruits. So he's a freshman, but he's like a giant of a man. They call him a man-child. And so they recognize that they've got a guy trapped in the field who's tired, and they use a pick to switch this matchup. Okay, you can see right there, you've got maybe their best new attackman guarded by a short stick who's tired. So this is not necessarily so specific to this situation, but talking about matchups, you can run your entire offense based on matchups. You want to dodge or you want to go against a defender who is tired, who is less experienced, who is maybe not as fast as you. If you're a big guy guarded by a little guy, then you might just want to run through him, okay? these are the things you need to look for when you don't have a play and you don't have a lot of ball handlers. The matchup is the only place to get through, or it's the best place to get through. It's the only thing I do, and I'm really not exaggerating when I say this can be your entire offense, is just find a matchup. If you see where this red defender is here, if the ball moves to white 15, this defender is approaching the ball. Okay, his approach is probably going to be good, but you can also run your entire offense on approaches. So let me skip back here for just a second and talk about an approach. Those are fades. Okay, yeah, approaches. So hot right now. All right, we don't want to dodge against a defender who's ready, who's set, who's in position with help behind him. We want to dodge against defenders who are out of position, late, coming straight at us, right? Because their momentum, it's going to be difficult to stop and break down. There's a whole video of approach dodges. I'm going to maybe skip that one so we can stay with the matchups, but you can find this on YouTube, attack and midfield face dodges and toe drags. Just search approaches, and you'll find a ton of stuff. And there's really good stuff. They're usually highlights, but you can run an entire offense on approaches because you're only going to the goal when the defense gives you something. Well, it looks like it's going to play it anyways. Well, let's watch it just for a second. I know we're getting close to the question and answer session. Okay, so that approach was high, was over the top. He wasn't in between his man and the goal. We go underneath. Sometimes they're not as clean, but some of these other ones are, especially when we get to the Miles Jones. Okay, so he's going to move the ball. Here comes an approach. See ya. Okay, if your defender's coming at you, that's a good time to go. So his momentum is coming straight towards the ball carrier. That's difficult to stop, break down, drop step, change direction, all those things. Okay, let's do like one more. Maybe we get a Miles Jones here. Okay. There's a pull pass. Here comes Miles Jones ready. See ya. That's an approach and a goal. So you have to kind of understand and recognize when that's coming, but you see the defender running straight at the ball. Great time to go. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. Nope. Come on, slides. There we go. As the ball moves side to side, right? So normally red 1 would come out to cover the ball. Red 4 would come out to cover the ball. Red 2 would hedge in. Red 5 would come in to help be a 2 slide. As you move the ball, you move the off-ball defenders. And then when you get the ball back, that's when your defender starts coming towards you. So just by moving the ball, you can create approaches for yourself, especially when your defender, like if red 2 had gone all the way in to be a 2 slide. Some teams are very, very good about being 2 slides, but that also creates very, very bad approaches. So that's one of my favorite things is to use the approaches, use ball movement to create new approaches for myself, or use ball movement to create new approaches for my teammates. So if I'm blue 1, I might want the ball, give it right back, just to give my teammate a new approach from his defender. Make sense? So approaches, that's 1. Let's go back to matchups because this is good. Okay, so we talked about that D midi. He's tired, right? We're going to get so this one here, Shane Brennan has a matchup and an approach. He's going to pass it. He recognizes he's got the matchup with a short stick. The defense right here actually does a good job of switching that matchup. They recognize they need a long pole on that guy. So they're going to switch back to a D pole. But he gets a new approach here. Okay, that's a good approach. They pick again. They switch again. Now he's got the matchup back. This is a short stick, tired D midi against the lefty attackman in a lefty attackman spot. So they've now gone back to get what they wanted, and he's going to take him underneath. Defense only hedges for a step. If you look at that crease defender, he only needed a step to slide to help that short stick. Okay, pick and switch the matchup. He's got it. He's going to use it. Watch that crease defender. 1 step. And that's all it takes. And so then my favorite thing right now is you can be anybody on the field, and you can use the matchups, you can use the approaches to run your entire offense. If you combine that with ground ball scoop pass, anytime the ball's on the ground, you're moving it to the unsettled situation. Anytime you get the ball, you're looking for approaches. Anytime you get the ball, you're looking for the right matchup. And it's a great way to score goals. You don't need complex plays. You don't need 6-man rotating triangles. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need approaches and matchups. And matchups are actually number one. So just find the matchup. The approaches come from ball movement. You're good. And I think I'll stop it there. How does that sound, Rob?
That sounds fantastic. Right, thank you.
Yeah, let me see. So this whole like stop sharing thing with Microsoft Teams. There we go. Got it.
Yeah. Great stuff. Some really good stuff in there. I'll just open with a question and then I'll open the floor up. Just trying to understand approaches. And a couple of the key. I'll put my video on so you can see me. Are a couple of the key things you said about approaches would be not dodging someone who's set, and by doing the ball, maybe a pass and a pass back is an opportunity to make that defender then get unset temporarily, giving you a chance to then to approach him, make a dodge. Is that my understanding of some of the principles there?
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing to add into that is when you make that pass, side to side is the best. So left to the field to the right, right to left, east to west, west to east. The best thing to do, because you're a defender, right, if I remember correctly, if you're guarding your man, ball goes up to the top, you're going to come in a little bit because you're an adjacent. You're trying to hedge to clog the dodging lane. You're trying to get your stick into the skip pass lanes. If we pass it 2 times over to the other side, now you've got to come out all the way in to help with your 2-slide responsibilities, or at least most of the way, right? So moving the ball 1 time creates a little approach. Moving the ball 2 times to the other side creates a much bigger approach. Now we got to pass it 2 times back, and you get the whole approach all at once, depending on how fast you move the ball. If you're a defender, like when I am playing defense, I have to help with my 2-slide responsibilities, but I'm old, I'm slow, I'm not terribly big or strong. If I'm guarding a guy that I'm a little bit worried about, I make sure that my approach is not fast, not out of control, and definitely I cheat to that positional aspect. So, okay, I might not get all the way to him, I might not get my stick in his hands, but my approach is going to be controlled, and I am definitely going to take away the middle, right, force him down the side. So I have to adjust my approaches for my own personal strengths and abilities at this day and age so that I don't give up the middle by going too fast. But ball movement, yes. And then there's all kinds of things we could talk about, approaches in unsettled situations. Like if you think about a fast break rotation, I'm coming down the field and the defender slides across the top towards me, that's an approach, okay? If I'm that point attackman, my defender goes, new defender comes from the bottom, goalie's bottom right, that's an approach. There's approaches all over the field. Once you start seeing them, they just keep coming and coming and coming, and you can use them.
That's right. And then before the other bit about matchups, so we saw the sort of the pick, the switch, ideal chance to try and get the matchup you're looking for, get rid of the long pole, get matched up with the short pole. Apart from a pick and a switch, what else is a good way for one of your stronger shorties to get away from a long pole?
That happens anytime the defense has to slide and rotate. So slide, rotate, recover. I was really lucky coaching in Cologne that we had such really high-level players. We could talk about hitting their defense 3-4 times. So we would dodge on the first dodge just to get the defense rotating. So like a lot of teams will talk about first quarter, you're just like probing, you're jabbing, you're testing, right? You're not going for goals necessarily, or your first dodge is not a goal dodge. You dodge, draw the slides, see how the defense rotates, see where their recovery is. A good team can dodge, draw the defense, move the ball to the backside once, and reattack. A really good team can dodge, move the ball to the backside, reattack, draw the defense, move the ball again, reattack 2-3 times in a possession. So the more you force the defense to slide, help, rotate, recover, you're going to get a new matchup. You're going to get a new approach on that recovery, especially if you're able to move the ball to the backside because you've got a defender coming all the way across the field to pick up that new open man. That's a new approach. That's a new recovery. And the more you can do that, the more disorganized the defense is going to be, the more obvious and clear those approaches and matchups are going to be. Look who it is.
Things up to the floor. Chris, hello, Chris. Join
Hey
in.
guys.
What have you got for us?
I just wanted to kind of touch on what Ryan just said. The common myth with like the newer teams or newer players is that they always have to dodge and end it with a shot or end up going to that goal. And like you said, Ryan, it's just you can dodge just to get that defense moving, and it's just something that eludes all these new teams and new players and stuff. So yeah, I just agreed with you.
Yeah, Chris got a very good point. And something that I have a hard time getting into people's heads is that, especially European teams and probably British teams, they'll slide for you. Like, they're going to slide all the time. They'll slide to stuff they don't need to slide to. And once the slide comes, you've got the double team, somebody's open, defense is in rotation, the defense is disorganized. They give you that, right? So one of my favorite things when I'm playing with new teams that I don't know the guys is, and even the teams that I coach, is like, just play with what they give you, right? You don't need a play. You just need to play with what the defense hands you. So defenders that overcommit, defense that throw crazy stick checks, defenses that slide unnecessarily, slide out of control, defenses that have no recovery, defenses that have, they got guys that just hang out in the middle and ball watch. You don't need plays for those things. You just need to play, just play lacrosse there. And you get a ton of opportunities off approaches, matchups, just open guys, and defenses from a defensive standpoint, because I'm very conscious that I talk about offense all the time. From a defensive standpoint, those are all just, I always talk about low-hanging fruit, right? We can fix that low-hanging fruit if we match up correctly, if we play really good on-ball defense. On-ball defense is something that took me a long time to learn. Hips to the sideline, keep your body position in between your man and the goal, keep your stick checks under control, and we're just pushing, right? I can play defense all day long with just my body, and I make sure I don't get beat to the middle. And one slide, we got to have at least one slide, right? We can talk about everything else after we get that one slide, but if we don't get beat, then we might not need the slide. So if you've got a couple of decent athletes, then you can probably keep your defense from getting completely disorganized. But defensive approach is something, if your approach is to the right position and under control, you don't overcommit, you don't run right past your guy, you're probably going to be in a good spot for at least a lot longer.
Exactly.
Yeah, defensive approach is super fun nowadays. I've noticed more coaches focusing on defensive approach, footwork, breakdown, stick and body position, taking away the middle of the field. You have a lot of approach footwork drills. There's a lot of coaches starting their 1v1 drills with approaches. So like Duke has one where the defender will start outside and the attacker will start inside, and they actually switch places, get the ball, and dodge. So that defender has to get in, turn around, and approach. Joe Spallina with Stony Brook, he does one where they both start back-to-back in the middle, and they run kind of like a half figure eight. And so the attacker pops out to get the ball, and the defender has to pop in to get to position, and then they go at each other. So you have a lot of approach 1v1 drills right now. And if we want to, I could get into some of those maybe next time.
Yeah, on that one, Ryan, something that you showed in some of the slides, and it was highlighted in some of the videos. One of the most dangerous parts of defending is when you have to push out to the ball, but you've got to balance charging out to the ball to get there with being unable to change your direction, change momentum, and the player just face dodges around you. And that balance of that, that just quick decision, am I going to take 3 or 4 big sprinting steps to close down this gap, or am I going to hold my position, but then the guy's going to get some momentum coming towards me? What do you talk to the young defenders about that split decision about, am I going to make that 5 yards, or am I going to kind of make sure I'm getting in the right spot before charging?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So I would say that I really like defense. I love defense now that I'm a little bit older, because it's so philosophical, right? So Offense is, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Somebody.
I'll turn off my I'll go on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I can hear myself. The offense is very mechanical, right? It's like a machine. You run here, pass here, shoot. Defense is so philosophical. So you've got, so to your question, right? Who are you guarding? Is he a dangerous outside shooter? Then I better get out there faster. Is he not a dangerous outside shooter, but he might be a good dodger? Then I need to get there maybe halfway, right? Am I a short stick or a long stick? If I'm a long stick, I need to get there with my stick up out in front, and I need to get something on his hands. Is he a righty or a lefty? That determines which way I go. Has that guy beaten me already this game? Okay, so let's say, let's go back before I need to approach my man. Was I in helping on a second slide? Was the other ball carrier dodging? Did I need to be all the way in as a second slide? Have they fed the middle already that game for a goal or two? If so, then I probably needed to be all the way in. If they weren't really dodging, then I didn't need to be all the way in for the second slide. I didn't need to go that far, thus making my approach shorter and not needing it to be as fast or as urgent. If they're moving the ball, right, was I anticipating? Did I anticipate the ball getting to my man? Did I anticipate where I needed to be? You see some really good defenders. Hopefully I can demonstrate this. Okay, I'm in trying to help be the second slide, right? Ball moves from the goalie's bottom right to the top right. Okay, now I'm hedging for a help left, right? Helping to the left of the ball. I've got my stick in the skip pass lane to the backside to cut off that skip pass, right? And I'm anticipating the ball moving from the goalie's bottom right to the goalie's top right to my man at the top left, right? So I should be anticipating the ball coming towards my man so that my approach is on time. And really, really good defenders will have their stick in this passing lane before the ball even gets to my man. Okay, I didn't cut off I didn't cut off the passing lane. Here comes the ball to my man, and now I'm in position. My approach is actually over when the ball gets there. I'm in position when my man gets the ball. Stick is up out in front. Body position is to the sideline, taking away the middle of the field, and I'm set and ready. So approach is a lot of different things. Who's your matchup? Which way is he going? What has he done this game? How dangerous is he? Is he a dodger, shooter, etc.? You can get so deep, and it changes every time you're guarding the ball. Is it the same guy? What's he done? That, you know what I mean? It's so situationally dependent, but it adds all the flavor.
That's why we love defense.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Questions? Throw them into Ryan.
Caller, you're on the line.
If not, I've got plenty of questions, but I'll...
Yeah.
Anne, any questions?
Checking out who's here. I get to see who's here.
Very interesting. I just picked up on you were saying about the hand positions on the stick previously.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying this position is for catching the ball, or
I spend the whole game here.
Mm-hmm.
I spend the whole game. I play like a box player now, and I only use my right hand. I very, very rarely use my left hand. And I actually kind of got in trouble in Israel because it was a D1 assistant coach was over there coaching the men's team. And we actually had an NLL player coaching a little bit of box. So I was getting in trouble one day for not using my left, and then the next day it was fine. But, you have so many players that this is very difficult, and this is, impossible. Having both hands is great.
Just a quick question, though, is if you was coming into contact with a player, so you're under pressure, have you got the same strength as in holding the stick?
Yeah. Yeah, the strength is not a problem. You're actually much stronger here, right? But if you keep your hands hip width, so like this is my hip width, a little bit tighter maybe, strength is never the problem. It's protection, right? And so, if I'm getting a little bit of a lift check, I might need to move my stick out of the way. I might need to take my bottom hand off if I'm getting a can opener, if somebody's got their stick in between my hands. That's a hard thing for new players to learn is, I don't need, if the stick is inside my hands here, I don't need strength. I need to let go and pull that stick away. But the number one answer to your question is when I come into contact, okay, I like to initiate contact and post up against my defender, right? But if one defender or two defenders are coming, instead of staying there and worrying about my hand strength or my hand position, I need to bounce out and separate from that, right? I've already drawn the double team. I need to step away from that contact and get my hands free because the ball needs to move. And that took a long, long time for me to learn. And the hard thing is that most younger players is when the double team comes, they're like, oh, shit. And they're like, oh, right, I have to turn away, right? I have to roll back. I have to roll outside, turn to my left. But the new answer is if you can bounce and separate, get your hands free, make that quick right-handed pass, move the ball away from trouble. That's a lot of times an easier answer.
Ryan, you've said that we've got about 5 minutes. We'll do 5 minutes more. We talked about bounce. What can we do in training sessions to give those offensive players the opportunity to practice that bounce? What's some good drills to get that moving?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and one that I'm not particularly good at. So I've had to kind of go back and improve myself. Everybody's seen the old Mark Millen's offensive wizardry, right? He would just set up cones in like a zigzag, right? And he just run, and he would do the old, 1990s arm down cradle, which or some guys are here, the Duke guys are here. I don't know what I do. But you just run dodge to the cone, so zig, and then you need to bounce at the zag. So dodge to a cone, bounce away, dodge to a cone, bounce away. So that's with zero pressure. Okay. Same thing. You can set that same cone up along the wing, coming from the end line up to the top of the box, and you can dodge to the cone, bounce away, stick up to feed. So like maybe a pass fake. That's another thing, actually, before we go back to bouncing. Pass fakes, shot fakes. That's another one of my favorite things because a pass fake can move a defender out of your way as good as any dodge. A pass fake might be your best dodge. So if I catch and I pass fake over here, my defender might actually move out of my way to try and pick off that pass, and then I can go. So add to my top 5 things, pass and shot fakes. Okay, bounce back to bouncing. Let's bounce back to bouncing. So you can dodge to that cone, bounce away, pass fake, get your stick up ready to feed if you've drawn a double team. Okay, stick back down, dodge again to the next cone, bounce away, stick up, pass fake, or ready to shoot. You do one dodge, one bounce, one dodge, one bounce. On your third bounce, then you can take that and go to the goal. So just go right over the top and turn that into a shooting drill. Anything we talk about, I can diagram up and we can include in the Facebook post for this. And then the next thing that I do is after we practice the bouncing footwork, so you need that jab step to bounce away, just like you would for a normal split dodge. Then I take my guys and we pair up 1v1, and we'll dodge all the way up the sideline from one end line to another. And it's just practicing initiating contact, handling the contact, defensive body position, push, maybe a little lift, maybe a power V, and then you bounce away, get ready to pass. Okay, continuing moving down the field, dodge into your man, initiate contact, defense body, lift, check, attack, bounce away. Okay, so we'll go all the way end line to end line. So that's a bunch of contact, dodge, bounce, contact, dodge, bounce. Okay, and then when we get to the other side of the field, they switch responsibilities. Right? So you've got the other pair, the other partner in that pair becomes the attacker, the other partner becomes the defender, and they just go back down the end line. Back down the sideline, and we just go around the field like that 2 or 3 times. And that's a bunch of contact. And then one more drill that I really like, if you look at first class, maybe I should have pulled that up before, the old dodge, slide, roll away, pass, dodge, slide, roll away, pass. That's an excellent one for getting That's an excellent one for bouncing away, because when the slide and the dodge comes, these aren't competitive situations, right? They're just mechanical, going through the motions and the skills. So when the slide comes, the slide's not trying to take away the ball. The on-ball defender's not trying to take away the ball. They're just sending the double team pressure so that we have to bounce to pass it back up top to keep the drill moving. And first class, there's a really good video of a team in Japan doing it where guys just keep coming. And so the first guy comes up, gets the ball. Second guy out of the line is the on-ball defender. Third guy out of the line is the slide, and then we bounce. Fourth guy gets the ball. Fifth guy is the on-ball. Sixth guy slides. I'll try and find that video for you guys. We'll post it in the group because they do it like, I'm sure you can imagine the Japanese guys, they do it like a machine. It's really quite impressive. And it's a small space drill. And that's and I think it's a good time to touch on, too, the old Robbie roll away. You can still do that, still very useful, but bounce away, crossbody, or bounce away, pull pass, rodeo pass. That's much easier for a lot of newer, younger players to get under their belt than rolling back to their left hand. If you can get, you've got to step away enough to get your hands free. You can't just bounce a little bit. You really got to bounce a lot. And I play, especially with my girls' teams, because there's no long sticks. When I'm playing women's lacrosse, I draw that double team. Sometimes I bounce out like 10 yards or 10 meters.
That's perfect, Ryan. Thank you. Right. What we'll do is we'll just see if anyone got any final questions. If not, there's been a lot of good stuff there, Ryan. Thanks. You said you might be able to put together a couple of bits of material that we can share.
Yeah, I just need to make myself a note.
Yeah, we'll get that shared later when you send it across to me. Thanks very much for your time. And
really enjoyed it.
Please share, if you want to share some information with me, if you want to share your contact details, just so obviously you're on all the social media platforms, but some people may not know your various contact details. Good luck for when you restart lacrosse over in Germany and in Croatia is the other country. And hopefully we will all see each other somewhere on a lacrosse field at some point later this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. Hoping to get back over to the UK a lot more, especially in the South, if a couple things work out. It would have been maybe this year, but I won't give out too many details. But yeah, Corona obviously shut that down. So I do hope to see all you guys pretty soon in a lot of different ways, a lot of places.
Right. Thanks very much for your time this morning, Ryan. And we will all speak again soon. And thanks everyone for joining, and for those listening later for watching the recording. Okay, goodbye.
And then now you just watch everybody disappear.